Today I'm going to show you how to tie the Muti Rig. First you'll need some coated braid. Here I'm using the Christ & Jackal. Next you need some hooks, and I'm using the Fang X from Nash Tackle. I find the curved shank hook works really well with this rig. Next you'll need some split shot or putty for weighing down your pop-up. A small bit of silicone tubing, some small bait screws or small bait swivels. Method of attaching your hook link to your main line, and for this I'm using one of these big ring swivels because I find it gives loads of extra flexibility at the lead end for the rig. Rig puller, tyre, some wax bait floss. Okay, the first part is actually dictating how long your rig's going to be. So I find something around the 7 to 8 inches works really well with this rig, but you can go shorter or longer. So what you need to remember is you need to make sure you allow some braid at each end to tie your knots. Okay, so a key part of this rig is your loop where your hook's going to attach, and that dictates how far it's going to sit off the bottom. So if you tie a big loop, it will sit up quite a way off. If you go smaller, obviously it sits lower to the bottom. Now I prefer a pop-up sitting as low to the bottom as I can get it, so I try to make the loop about as long as the hook, and I'll show you why that is in a moment. Okay, so first you tie a loop in your braid. So once you've tied a few of these, you actually know whether you're too short or too long pretty much as soon as you tie that knot. So there, I'm not too far off. Okay, so I've got my loop. Now you can trim off that extra bit there. So the next part is getting this loop through the eye of the hook. Now if you're using quite a thick braid and a smaller hook, you may find you really struggle to get that loop through there. So that's where you use your wax bait floss. And what you can do is use this as a threader. Now for this rig, with this braid and this hook size, I probably wouldn't need it, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. So make sure you thread through the eye, so then the loop is coming out the back of the eye of the hook, like that. Next part is to attach your bait screw or your little mini swivel there. As I said, I use the bait screws. I find it's a lot easier to attach your pop-up. That way it's just a lot easier. Okay, now next you need to lasso that hook. So you usually push it over the bend, past the point of the hook. Well, I find if you position your bait screw about in line with the barb on the other side. Here I'm using barbless, so I've got to guess roughly where that is, and I'd say it's about there. So as you can see, this is a really good rig for if you want to change your hook quickly, because it's a simple case. Undoing your bait screw, your hook's off, you can replace that with a new one. So next part is where this knot is. You need to break that braid, the coating on the braid, just ever so slightly to allow some flexibility. Now depending on what braid you're using, you may need to use a stripper tool. With this braid you can normally just do it with your fingers. As you can see now, you've got some flexibility there. Now I'd probably say that's a little bit longer than what I would normally use, but depending on what you're fishing over, that will work. So if I now attach one of these split shot to the braid, you'll see how it will work on the bottom. Once you add your pop-up, you can see these are really easy with these bait screws. you've got a super effective rig. Next, I thread on a bit of silicone tubing, and this will protect your knot where you attach the swivel. Now of course you can use a sleeve and tie a loop and then use the quick release swivels. It's entirely up to you, or you can just tie it directly to a normal swivel, but as I said, for these I use a loop, or a loop to a big ring swivel. Again, I use an overhand loop knot for this. Make sure you pull your locks down tight. Okay. Trim off the excess, leave a small bit for any slippage. There shouldn't be too much for this. Pulled it down tight. Okay. Now what you can use, silicone you threaded on, and loop up over the top of this knot here just to neaten it up a bit. As you can see now, that's the finished rig. Next I'm just going to steam it, and this will make this section of the braid stiff, which will mean it will kick out away from the lead. It should settle on the bottom nicely. Okay, I've steamed that section of the braid there now, so that's, as you can see, that's stiffened that up really well. So, as you can see, as the lead hits the bottom, the stiffness of the coated braid should kick that hook right away. It should come to rest on the bottom, something like that. Now, as you've stripped that coated braid there to allow the flexible braid underneath to work, this hook spins really well, depending on whichever way the fish comes from the bait. This rig turns and catches hold really well. Okay, so there you have it. That's the Muti Rig. Really good rig for using for pop-ups, and I hope it catches you loads of fish.